Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Focus 67. My name is
Hello,
Michelle.
everyone.
If
hmm
you've been here before, you've probably seen me. My name is Michelle. I am a teacher in Milano Meravili with Sean, and I've been living in Milan for 2 years now. And I've been in Meravili for about a year and a half, a little more than a year and a half.
Mm, yeah, I've been in Meraviglie since September, and yeah, I've been in Italy, in Milan since September, and I come from Ireland originally.
Oh, we have so many viewers. I love that. Write to us and let us know your name and where you're from. And as we
Yeah.
move through the lesson, we would love if you guys participated and write to us in the comments and tell us where you're from and answer the questions as we move along.
Hmm. It's very relevant where you're from today because we're talking about geography, about different places in the world.
We have Sonia. Hi, Sonia. Sonia is from Sri Lanka, but she lives in Milan and she attends Meravili. Fantastic.
Mm.
And Sonia, my mom is actually from Sri Lanka as well.
Great. Have you been to Sri Lanka?
No, no, I have not. My mom actually hasn't been there in years and years.
Oh, right. Okay.
We also have Antonella, and she's from Naples. Fantastic.
hmm
Okay, let's get to it. In this focus activity, Sean, would you like to read?
Yes, so in this focus activity, we are comparing geographic locations, looking at superlatives and comparatives, and vocabulary around geography. So obviously, when you make comparisons in English, we have the particular comparative forms and also the superlatives to talk about the most or the best something.
Fantastic. And here we have some of our students. We have Rita from Sicily. Yes, Rita, I absolutely remember you. And
Yeah.
I've actually told Sonia this before, and now I remember who Sonia is.
Yeah, I definitely remember Rita.
Yep, absolutely, Sonia. I remember we had a lesson together. I'm sorry, sometimes it takes a minute to put a name and a face together,
Yes.
but I
I'm
do
much better with faces than names myself, so I need to see your face to remember you.
And we have Elena, and she's from Lazio, but she lives in Bologna. Amazing. Okay, let's get into it. A geography quiz. Okay, this is fun. So, Sean is going to read the
Mhm.
statement, and why don't you guys comment and let us know which country or continent you think these places are, or these geographical um, situations occur in. Okay, Sean.
Okay. So Lake Baikal is the deepest lake in the world, 1,637 meters deep. It holds 20% of the world's fresh water. Lake Baikal is in where? The widest river in the world is the Amazon River in, and the highest waterfall in the world is Angel Falls at 979 meters. It is located in ... So please let us know.
Sonia's already done this lesson and her answer is absolutely right. Yes, Lake Baikal is in Russia.
Mm.
Fantastic. Okay, the widest river in the Amazon is in. Come on, guys, I know you know this. The Amazon runs through several countries, so I'll take any country. Sonia has said Brazil. Yes, absolutely, it does run in Brazil, but we generally say South Africa, South America. Sorry. The reason being is that the Amazon is located in the northern portion of South America, and it flows from west to east. So it includes Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, Bolivia, and Brazil as well.
Mm.
And the highest is in Venezuela. Fantastic work, Sonia. I'm so glad you remembered our lesson.
Yeah, learning more than just English today.
Love that. Venezuela is actually very, very famous for its natural resources. People don't know this because of the social and economic troubles in Venezuela. But when you speak in terms of resources, it is one of the richest countries in the world. Unfortunately, it doesn't really have the opportunity to exploit those resources.
Hmm. Do you know a
Mhm.
lot about geography, Michelle? Is it an interest of yours?
I am interested in geography, but I'm more interested in how geography affects social, political, socio-economic factors. So, if you asked me off the top of my head, the capital of some random country, I would not know that. But so that's how I am interested in geography. Do you like geography, Sean?
Yeah, I like you when it's talking very much just about natural features and nature. It's not so interesting. When you talk about kind of socio-economic dynamics, it gets more interesting. Yeah, I would say I like geography, yeah. But I'm no expert anyway.
Yeah, me neither. Antonella says that I only know location of the Amazon River.
Hmm.
Okay, so remember it's location. Locate is the verb, located is the past tense, and then location is the noun, the place. Okay, if you have any questions regarding vocabulary, please write to us and let us know. In the meantime, we are moving forward. Would you like to read, Sean?
Sure. So we have some pictures with letters, and then we have vocabulary to match up. So I'm going to read through these and give you a moment to pronounce after me. And while we're doing that, can you try and match them up to the pictures as well? So, valley, river, desert, island. The S is silent there. Island. Canyon, lake, mountains, cliffs. Yes, so try and match those up. Um, I'm sure you'd be familiar with most of these. Desert is definitely one you have to be careful with because we also have dessert, which is an extra S, and that's obviously a sweet meal at the end of dinner. But this is a desert, not dessert. So yeah.
Okay, so let's start matching them. Or let's start describing them first, right?
Hmm.
First up, we have a valley. So a valley is a low area in between two mountains or two hills.
Mhm.
Okay, and Sonia says the first one is valley. Fantastic. Okay, and then we have B.
Mm.
Okay, a desert is a region which does not receive any water or a lot of water. So it's very dry. And another way to say it is arid, which means nothing grows there. It's so dry that nothing grows there.
Yeah. We have some more answers. So yes, B is mountain. Exactly. Very good.
Fantastic, yes. C is a lake.
Mhm. D is an island.
Fantastic. You guys are doing really well. Keep those answers coming. E is a desert. Fantastic.
Mhm.
Okay, so F, you have a lot of these in Ireland, right?
Yeah, we're really famous for these. Yes, our cliffs. Very famous are the cliffs of Moher. I don't think these are the cliffs of Moher, but I really think these are in Ireland. I think maybe they're in Donegal or somewhere.
And could you tell us more about the cliffs of Moher?
Yeah, the cliffs of Moher are in a very famous geographical region of Ireland. It's called the Burren, Burren. I'll write it in the comments. The Burren, which is very unusual. It's the landscape, it's just rocks. There's no grass.
Hmm.
And in between the rocks, you have very particular flowers which grow. And where the burn meets the sea, you have the cliffs of Moher. And generally on the west coast of Ireland, you have very spectacular cliffs because the Atlantic Ocean is very harsh and it really erodes against us. So we get nice cliffs, but not very good beaches.
Right, yeah, of course, but it must be absolutely gorgeous, that kind of landscape.
Mm, yeah. We don't often get the weather to enjoy it, unfortunately, but it is beautiful.
Obviously, I think it's because I've never seen it myself. They're very romanticized in my head. And in my head, I think the weather just contributes to the beauty of that area.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're used to a little bit.
Yeah, I'll probably die, let's be honest. But I can admire it, from afar.
Mm, yeah,
Okay, we have the answers, and you guys have been doing fantastically. G is a river, and H is a canyon. Fantastic work. I find that sometimes students, while they understand what a canyon is, they sometimes struggle to identify it, right, or describe it. So, how
yeah.
would you describe a canyon?
Um, I'm not 100%, but I believe a canyon is kind of a big opening in the earth, usually in a dry region, that it goes very deep into the ground, a big open area that goes down very deep. I mean, what else is a canyon?
Yeah, absolutely. So usually the difference between a canyon and a valley is that a valley might be deep, but it's not steep. As you can see, it slopes down very slowly, right? If you think about Mount Etna in Catania and the area surrounding it, that is essentially a valley, but it's a very smooth slope, whereas a canyon is very steep. So it just suddenly drops down. And it's also very dry, like Sean said. And sometimes some canyons will have a river flowing right at the bottom, but it's so far down, it's so deep that it doesn't really fertilize or the area around it. So it ends up being very dry and a dry and harsh climate and the area as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you have any questions, guys, again, please write to us and let us know. Okay, adjectives. What is the opposite? Would you like to read, Sean?
Yes, so we have three adjectives on either side, and you have to match up the opposites with each other. So on one side, wide, deep, and high. High, again, a difficult one to pronounce because people see the GH and they panic. Forget about them, just say hi. It's exactly the same as just saying hi. And then on the other side, low, narrow, and shallow.
Fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and start matching them up, and you guys can contribute along the way. So first up, we have wide. And this word, this adjective is used to describe width. So the question is, what is width? So width is the horizontal length of something. For example, you have a phone, right? This is my phone. You have the vertical length, which is the height, and you have the horizontal length, which is the width or breadth. So wide is an adjective for a great horizontal length. Okay. Sonia's got the first answer, wide and narrow. Yep, absolutely. Good work, Sonia.
Mhm.
Okay, and we have deep. Alina has answered high, low. Absolutely. So which leaves us with deep, shallow. So let's talk about the word deep. When we talk about the adjective deep, we are talking about the noun depth. And depth is the distance of something from the top to the bottom. So from the surface to the bottom. An example would be the ocean, right? So from the surface to the bottom, from the surface of the ocean to right down. What does it measure? Absolutely, Sonia. Profondo is deep. You are correct. But we try not to use Italian when we're explaining English because it's about trying to articulate yourself in English itself, right?
Yeah. Mm.
Okay, fantastic work, everyone. We're going to move on. Sean, would you like to?
Yes, so we have the features we looked at and also the adjectives. And now we have to think about which adjectives are appropriate to describe which features. So, for example, can you call a valley wide and narrow? Can you call it deep and shallow? Can you call it high and low? Some you can use two or three, some you can use one. So we have to put these features in under the adjectives.
Okay, so let's start with valley. What do you think, Sean?
I actually find this one a bit tricky. I
Mm.
always forget, but I think deep and shallow. No,
Mm-hmm.
what? Maybe deep and shallow and wide and narrow. I'm going to say.
Yep, absolutely. Because if a valley, if there's a lot of space between the two mountains or the hills, then it's a wide valley. But if there's very little space, then it's a narrow valley. And if it's a tall mountain, it's a deep valley. But if it's a short hill, it's a shallow valley. Good work, ladies. Rita and Sonia, you're both correct. So Rita, it's not high low, but wide narrow and deep shallow. Okay,
Mhm.
moving on. River. Okay, so rivers are obviously deep or shallow because you can measure from the surface to the bottom. Are rivers wide and narrow? Yes, I think they are.
Yeah.
So, yep. Okay, canyon. This is fun. What do you think, Sean?
I think definitely deep or shallow.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think wide or narrow. Oh no, wait, yeah.
Right, because if it's there's a lot of space in between the cliffs that form the canyon, then it's going to be a narrow canyon. But if it's like the Grand Canyon where there's a lot of space,
Mm.
then it is going to be a wide canyon. I've never seen a canyon, but I think I would like to.
Yeah, we don't have them in Ireland anyway.
Yeah, we don't have them in Pakistan either.
Yeah. It's
Have
just
you
in
ever seen
America, really, I think. No, I haven't seen one. I don't know if they have them anywhere other than America.
Yeah, or maybe they're not that famous because we've all heard of the Grand Canyon, but I don't know the names of many canyons beyond
Mhm.
that. But there's one I think in around here, somewhere towards the north of Italy.
Really, a canyon?
I think so, but I could be wrong.
Hmm. Italy is very geographically diverse for such a relatively small country, so
Hmm.
definitely could be.
Okay, next up we have a lake. What do you think, Sean?
Well, I think with any time that you're talking about water, a body of water, deep and shallow, and yeah, definitely not high and low, and no, not really wide or narrow.
Hmm. And what's interesting is that river lakes are so versatile in shape. There are so many kinds of lakes. Like you have Como, which is narrow, which
Mm,
can be called a narrow lake. But then you have the lakes in America, which are as big as Sicily, but they have no shape to them per se.
mm,
Okay, mountains. So definitely high and low, right?
yeah. Do you know that song, River Deep, Mountain High? I think it's Tina
Yeah.
Turner or someone.
Ain't no mountain high enough. Hey, no. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
That was fabulous, Michelle. You've got a great voice.
I am a professional bathroom singer. Okay, so we've moved on, and now we would like you to contribute as we work through these questions and we talk about our respective countries and the geographical features in our countries. We would love for you to tell us about the geographical features in your city, in your country, in your region. And because, like Sean said, Italy is so diverse, I'm sure you all have something different to contribute. And maybe we have someone from France and Spain as well. We'd love to hear from you. Would
Mm,
you like to read, Sean?
sure. So, the first question, how would you describe the streets in your city or hometown? Narrow or wide? Number two, what is its most important source of water? Is it fresh water or salt water? Three, what is the geography of your city or hometown? Any mountains, valleys, or cliffs? Anything else?
Fantastic. Okay, so let's talk about your town, Sean. How would you describe the streets?
Well, I grew up in a village in the west of Ireland, rural Ireland, and it's a very small village. There's just 100 people or so. So there's just one street, and it is very narrow. All the towns in Ireland are very old from before cars. So a little bit like Italy, the streets tend to be narrow. How about in your hometown, Michelle? Narrow or wide streets?
Average. They're not very
Okay.
narrow, but they're not as big as they should be. For a city that's as big as mine, I think the streets are narrow. But if you look at it objectively, they're okay. They're not too narrow and not too wide.
Mm,
Sonia says the streets in Milan are narrow in the center and wide in the other part. Yeah, I think that's an accurate description.
definitely, yeah.
Okay, what is the most important source of water?
Hmm. So the area I live in has a lot of lakes, not big lakes, but really every house is beside a small lake. My house was in front of a small lake. There was one at the other side of the hill, lakes and lakes and lakes. So yes, freshwater lakes were our water sources. And of course, it's always raining in Ireland, so we never have a lack of water, no problems with sourcing water. How about you in Pakistan?
Right, so in my city, we get our water from the Indus River. So that's
Mm,
nice. Yep, the Indus River, the water from the river goes to a dam called the Hub Dam, and we get our water and our electricity
mm.
from there.
It's a very
But
long river, isn't it? The
it
Indus.
is, it starts in the Himalayas and it basically it also branches out into India. So India has a river as
Mm,
well, and which come from the same source. We also
mm,
have the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean. So though we don't really have a big desalination plant, so we don't use that source of water, but it's there.
mm.
Rita says that she wants to talk about the city where she was born. I'm from Marsala, a city in the west coast of Sicily. The major part of the streets are narrow.
Mhm.
Sonia says nothing. No, it's if you are talking about Milan, it's not true. Milan just has a lot on the outskirts, right, Sean?
Yeah, there's I mean, what is I've never been.
Okay, so you have the mountains,
Yeah.
right? So we're surrounded by mountains. So
Mm.
that's fantastic. Then the rivers Ticino, Po, and Ada. Is that how you pronounce them?
Yeah,
Ticino,
yeah,
Po,
definitely.
right, so you have these three rivers which are nearby. Then we have Como, which is also pretty close, the lake. So while Milan doesn't have anything in it, because it's a very big urban city, it is surrounded by a lot of nature.
Mm.
What about your hometown or your country?
Yes, as I said, we have a lot of lakes. And Ireland is, we don't have mountains. We don't have anything like the Alps or the Himalayas, but we're very famous for our rolling hills, which are kind of very scenic, continuous, up and down, up and down. There's very few areas in Ireland that are flat. Most areas are hills, and certainly, Ireland is much greener than Italy. The color of the grass and the trees, because we have so much rain and so little sun that everything is very green.
Fantastic. Like a very bright, vivid green.
Yeah, like emerald green, like they say, it really is. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Mm,
gorgeous.
yeah.
Uh, Melissa says that she's from Milan, but she lives in Bologna. The streets in Milan are larger than Bologna Street, but Bologna has got some beautiful hills. Okay,
Mm,
I love that. It's very descriptive. But let's talk about the comparatives and the superlatives. So, quick refresher: we use comparatives when we are comparing two items. So over here, you are comparing the streets of Milan to the streets of Bologna. So you will say larger than. But if you were comparing the streets of, say, Bologna, Milan, and Turin, you can say Milan has the largest streets. In
mhm.
that case, when you compare more than two things, you can use a superlative. Sonia says in Sri Lanka we have the Indian Ocean. Absolutely. And in Sri Lanka, we also have a lot of hills, right? Sri Lanka is very green
Yeah.
and they get a lot of rainfall.
What's the geography around your city like, Michelle?
We have the Indian Ocean and we have the Arabian Sea. So the Arabian Sea feeds into the Indian Ocean. So
Mhm.
we have that. We have rivers, river. So this is something that my city is very famous for because we have these beautiful beaches and then we have mangroves. What are mangroves? So
I don't know.
mangroves are small trees or shrubs which grow in a coastal salty water,
Oh,
right? So they're a massive ecosystem and they are a protected geographical feature. You've probably everyone has probably seen pictures of them, but doesn't know it has a particular name.
Hmm. And is the climate in Pakistan considered temperate or tropical or something else?
Well, I think it's considered temperate and tropical. It depends on where you are. So if you are towards the south, it's more tropical. We don't really have four seasons. We have summer and not so summer. So we have a period which is very hot, and then we have a period which is not very hot. Our seasons are usually defined by the monsoon. So this is something that's particular to the subcontinent. A monsoon is a period in India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, etc., where in which it rains excessively.
Mm.
And it starts in April and goes all the way to September. And it moves in, the clouds move in from the Indian Ocean and make their way across. We have our monsoon in about August. Um, India has their monsoon in July, towards the end of July. Bangladesh has theirs in maybe May, April. So it's a progression. So it comes from the east and makes its way to the west.
Mm.
Oh, and Sonia says in Sri Lanka it's in November. Interesting.
Mm.
All in. But what else does Ireland have in terms of geographical features?
Well, we have in the, and I was talking about the Burren, which is kind of a rocky area. And I don't know if you've seen pictures or heard of it. In Northern Ireland, we have the Giant's Causeway, which is a very particular rock formation where all the rocks have naturally formed these hexagons that go in steps. And it looks man-made because it's so even and precise, but it wasn't. It was completely natural. It happened. I don't know how it happened, but it's there near Belfast if you ever want to visit. It's very nice. I've been. It's worth
Yeah.
seeing.
Ooh, it's spooky.
Yeah.
Okay, Rita says that in Milan the only source of water is the Navili.
No. I wouldn't want to drink the water there myself.
No, no. I once saw them try to clean the Navili, and the things that came out of there, it was so wrong, so
Yeah.
wrong.
Mm.
But there are some lakes not too far, Lake Como, Lago Maggiore, and they aren't in Milan, but it's easy to get there. Absolutely. Okay, let's move on. Geographically speaking, would you like to read, Sean?
Yes. So the US is the world's third largest country in size. It is two times larger than the European Union. Its geography is very diverse, and you can find everything from tropical islands in Hawaii and Florida to cliffs, canyons, and deserts in the southwest. Death Valley in California is deeper than the Grand Canyon. At 86 meters, it is the lowest point in the country. Denali in Alaska is the tallest mountain, 6,198 meters in the US and in North America. Crater Lake in Oregon is 589 meters deep, and it's also the ninth deepest lake in the world. The Mississippi River is the longest river in the US and the fourth longest river in the world.
Wow. Okay, so as we move along, What we would like you to do is tell us if you can find the superlatives and the comparatives in this paragraph.
Mhm.
Remember, a superlative is used when you compare more than two items, and a comparative is used when you only compare two items. Okay, so we're going to move through this. The first one is largest, which is a superlative. The second superlative, do you want to find it, Sean?
Yes, I think the next one is lowest.
I think you're right. And I think tallest would be the third one.
Mhm. And then deepest after that.
Mm,
Mhm. Rita has found the comparatives. We have larger than first.
fantastic.
Hmm. Then deeper than.
Hmm. And I
Hmm.
think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have fantastic work, Sonia. Largest, larger, deeper, lowest, tallest, deepest, longest. Fantastic work, everyone. You guys have really understood it. So now let's try to practice using them. We have three mountains here. Mont Blanc, Mount Denali, and Mount Everest. Mont Blanc is obviously in Italy. Mount Denali is in, right?
It's a bit of a controversial issue between French people and Italians.
Oh,
It's on the border. They both claim it.
right. But I live in Italy, so I'm just going to go side with the Italians on this one.
Yeah.
Mount Denali is in Alaska, and Mount Everest, right? So the same thing with Mount Everest. Their leadership is very often disputed.
Mm,
But so we generally say Nepal, but everyone cites to claim.
okay.
Yeah, and sometimes so China also has part of Mount Everest.
Okay, okay.
So when they were officially measuring Mount Everest, China and Nepal had two different measurements.
Oh, okay. God.
Sonia says Mount Everest is the tallest in the world. Fantastic use of a superlative.
Mhm.
Mount Everest is the highest mountain. Fantastic. Good work, ladies. Now let's try to use a comparative. Good. You read my mind. Mount
Mm,
Denali is taller than Mount Blanc. Okay, so here is um, the a small something small you should take note of. We usually don't put the before a proper noun. So Mount Everest is a name of a mountain. So we never say the Mount Everest, we just say Mount Everest. The same way, I hope Sean would never say the Michelle, because that would be
no.
weird. Okay, Rita says Mont Blanc is lower than Mount Denali.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Okay, here we have some more examples. Would you like to read, Sean?
Yes, so we have islands. Madagascar is 587,000 kilometers squared. So I know a lot of people have difficulty with reading numbers in English.
Mm,
So maybe you can know what I'm doing here. So I just read everything before the comma as 587, and then I say thousand afterwards to denote these three zeros. Similarly, Hawaii is 28,000 kilometers squared. Lake Victoria is 69,000 kilometers squared in area and 83 meters deep. Lake Tahoe is 496 kilometers squared and 500 meters deep. And Lake Titicaca is 8,372 kilometers squared. So if you have numbers after the comma, first you say 8,000 and then you read them. You say 372 and 281 meters deep. Mount Fuji is 3,770 meters tall. Mount Kilimanjaro is 5,895 meters tall.
so Lake Victoria, it's massive. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
It is big. It's the biggest, it's the size of a small country.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've very bad with numbers. I find it hard to visualize these things, but yeah, it's bigger than Hawaii, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so big. For those of you who don't know, Lake Victoria can be found in Africa, and basically it's the chief reservoir of the River Nile.
Mhm.
Interesting. Wow. Okay, so we have answers coming in. Lake Tahoe is the deepest. Fantastic. Mount Fuji is lower than Kilimanjaro. Good. Madagascar is bigger than Hawaii. Fantastic. Hawaii is wider. Madagascar is wider than Hawaii. So we don't know if it's wider, right? Because when you measure the area of something, you don't really consider wide or narrow. So we don't know for sure. It could be, but we don't know. So, but
Mhm.
bigger or larger would be a better word. Sonia initially said Mont Blanc is shorter than Everest, and then corrected herself and said lower. But you can say shorter as well, because short is the opposite of tall, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic work, guys. You've done really well. Thank you for writing to us and interacting with us. It always makes the lesson so much better.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we are out of time and we are going to wrap up. So remember, we use a superlative to compare more than two things. We use a comparative to compare two things. And the adjectives we looked at were wide, narrow, deep, shallow, high, and low. Sean, do you have anything to add?
No, thank you for your participation, guys. It's nice to see some of our students again.
Absolutely. Have a
Mhm.
good evening, everyone, and have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.